Good day, TED subscribers. This is Sir Gerald of JED Media, your learning resource partner. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, comment, like, and share. Quarter 1, Module 2, Week number 3. Noting details and using graphic organizers, which is under determining the effect of textual aids like advanced organizers and so on understanding of a text. These are the key concepts for today's lesson. Reading skills. We will be learning about the different advanced organizers, textual aids, and noting details. These are the important concepts that we will meet for today's discussion. So, stay tuned. What are reading skills? If you have the abilities and capacity to read, comprehend, interpret, and decode written language text, then you have a reading skill. And I hope you possess that. Good luck! What are textual aids? These are educational instruments. Could be written texts or printed text and other ways of emphasizing the essential phrases, thoughts, graphs, and or images. In the succeeding lessons, we will be able to be given examples about textual aids. These are very useful, especially when it comes to understanding the text or a reading selection. So they could be highlighted, bolded, italics, charts or graphs and diagrams, among others in a reading selection or text. What about advanced organizers? These are pedagogical devices that help us bridging the gap, what you learners have already know and what you will need to know. There will be examples later on. Narrative is an example of an advanced organizer. If you can see the example, it presents new information in the format of a story. So a teacher, for example, will provide the main and important concepts of the lesson by telling you a story that includes these concepts. There's an example, if you can see. Next, expository is an example of organizer. It is used to present new or detailed information as opposed to making connections with previously introduced information. Let's say, for example, our lesson for today is, so the teacher will be showing to you this kind of diagram, chart, or maybe a form of a fill or supply type activity. That's an expository advanced organizer. Next is skimming. It's very common with its opposite, scanning. It is when the teacher provides the learners with the opportunity to skim or just to go over the information that is about to be introduced. Here you have to focus on what is highlighted information, for example. Next, these are graphic organizers, which refer to the method in presenting information. So whatever articles, stories, or lessons, they can be presented in a form of graphic organizers. Let's try some. So these are methods of presenting information. They are efficient because they highlight and focus on just the important aspects. And they also show relationships between necessary information. In the next lessons, maybe you will be shown examples of graphic organizers. So it can be presented in graphs, diagrams, maps, and so on. Noting details now involves picking out from a piece of text. Do you know how to note details? You just simply have to pick here the important details. And the authors used to emphasize the events and even the characters of the story. It's very common, especially in reading a story or reading a text, where you have to take note of important details and main idea of the selection. There are two types of details. The first one is implicit details, and the second one is explicit. If it's implicit, these are used to describe or define a general state, and explicit, of course, specific ones. They can be seen right away in the story or in the selection that you are reading. No need to go through with all of the details in the story. Implicit and explicit. Let's have activity time. I hope you're familiar with this one. Let's try the KWL chart, which means what I know, what I want to know, and what I learn. So for example, our article is about COVID-19 still. So the teacher, or if I will be asking, what do you think or what do you know about COVID-19? You just have to fill this in. And what do you want to know more? And after reading the story, you will have what I learned. This is an example of an organizer. Next, it's reading time. So let's assume that you have read the article about coronavirus. So you can now work on a summary graphic organizer, and it looks this way. You have there the main idea, and you have to fill out the important details. And overall, you may come up with the summary for only one sentence. So that's the summary graphic organizer. It's simple, right? Now, I want you to read this story, which is entitled The Philippine Flag, and you may do one of the following activities that will be presented in the next slides. It could be skimming, outlining, story map, or transcoding. That is, after you read the story of the Philippine flag that can be found in your modules. Okay, so let's start. For example, if you are asked about skimming, so you have to go over first with the selection to find the words that mean nearly the same. So you can have the synonym of the words or expressions which are in quotation marks from number 1 to number 5, which you can see on the screen. You may write your answer on a separate sheet, or you can have it in Microsoft Word. That's for skimming activity. You may also try outlining. So outlining is very simple. You have there the 3 parts. Okay, you just simply have to get the main or the important details from the selection, and you have to complete the outline. This can also be found in your module, especially the format. That's for outlining. Next, maybe with the use of the story map. It's also simple. You just have to fill in the title, the author, the setting, or the different elements of the story after reading the story of the Philippine flag. So you have to indicate here and then submit in our Google Classroom. And the last choice would be transcoding what was read. So you just have to distinguish Aguinaldo's flag and the present Philippine flag. You just have to draw it. If you want to add some description or explanation regarding your illustration, that's also fine. The criteria can be found in the module as well. If you have your questions, you just have to comment or message me in Facebook or in our group chat. So this is for our English 10 lessons. So thank you so much for listening, and stay safe, everyone. This is Sir Gerald, your learning buddy. God bless. See you again in our next English lesson. Bye bye for now.